Το καινούργιο βιβλίο που ξεκινάω να διαβάζω είναι πάλι του ιδίου συγγραφέα με το προηγούμενο, το Black Flags που διάβαζα, για τον ISIS. Αυτός είναι ο συγγραφέας ο Joby Warwick. Red Line, κόκκινη γραμμή. The Unraveling of Syria and the Race to Destroy the Most Dangerous Arsenal in the World. Το ξεκαθάρισμα της Συρίας και ο αγώνας για να καταστραφεί το πιο επικίνδυνο οπλοστάσιο στον κόσμο. Αυτό το βιβλίο εκδόθηκε το 21 και το 22 στην Αγγλία. Είναι Penguin Random House UK και έχει αυτές τις συγκλονιστικές εικόνες εδώ πέρα. Τι λέει? Beginning in the 1980s, Syria's government built a vast research and production complex for a class of highly lethal chemical weapons called nerve agents. Starting with relatively crude machinery, as pictured here, the complex produced hundreds of tons of binary sarin and VX. Hussam al-Nahas holds a young patient at an Aleppo hospital. The Syrian medical intern became an activist after 3 medical workers were murdered when police caught them delivering life-saving supplies. Al-Nahas, in civilian clothes, poses with Syrian medical workers in newly donated chemical protection gear. Al-Nahas helped organize training for Syrian doctors, fearing that a major chemical attack was coming. By 2013, jihadist militants such as the Al-Qaeda-allied Al-Nusra Front, shown here, had emerged as the strongest fighters on the rebel side, able to capture military bases and perhaps, the United States feared, Syria's chemical arsenal. Andrew C. Weber, pictured with President Barack Obama in 2012, was a Defense Department official responsible for defending against WMD threats when the Syrian civil war broke out. He pushed his staff to begin planning how to remove and eliminate Syria's weapons if given the chance. Air Force Major General J. Santee, Deputy Director of the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency, helped lead the search for technology that could destroy Syria's chemical weapons. Tim Blades, civilian leader of a small ChemBio defense unit in Edgewood, Maryland, spent decades helping to destroy America's chemical weapons. His team came up with a novel machine that used water and pressure to destroy liquid nerve agents. The field deployable hydrolysis system, dubbed the Margarita machine, was designed, built, and tested in less than 5 months. Ake Sellström, a Swedish scientist and a top chemical weapons expert, was tapped by the United Nations to lead a team to investigate early reports that chemical weapons were being used in Syria's civil war. Sellström's inspection team was in Damascus waiting to begin its work when a massive sarin attack occurred on the outskirts of the capital. The attack on the Ghouta suburbs on August 21, 2013, killed an estimated 1,400 people in the deadliest use of such weapons in a quarter century. Sellström's inspectors drove into an ambush as they traveled to Ghouta to gather evidence. One vehicle was disabled by gunshots, but Sellström ordered the others to press ahead. Team members determined that the artillery rockets contained sarin gas, and a subsequent investigation concluded they were fired from government territory. President Barack Obama confers with national security advisors in August 2013 to debate the US response to Syria's chemical attack. Obama's plan for an immediate airstrike was delayed, in part because of worries about UN inspectors still on the ground. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and US Secretary of State John Kerry haggle over final details of a deal to remove and destroy Syria's chemical arsenal. The deal delayed an attack on Moscow's closest Middle East ally while offering the West a strategic win. With no country willing to host a destruction facility for Syria's weapons, the Pentagon was forced to consider eliminating them at sea. Officials searching for a suitable platform eventually settled on the MV Cape Ray. Mississippi native Rick Jordan was picked as the ship's captain. Before departing Norfolk, he steered the ship into a gale to see if the chemical destruction equipment could withstand the stress of rough seas. Cape Ray, ακροτήριο ακτίνα, ακτίδα. To oversee the dismantling of Syria's stockpile, the United Nations chose Sigrid Kaag, a veteran UN manager and mother of four from the Netherlands. Kaag had no background in chemical weapons, but she was judged to possess the diplomatic skills and personal toughness to keep the operation on track. After gaining access to Syria's secret weapons facilities, inspectors found chemical mixing trucks like this one. Ordinary looking from the outside, it contained mobile equipment for loading sarin into bombs. An inspector with the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons examines storage tanks filled with binary sarin. Under the disarmament deal, Syria promised to scrap on not only its weapons but also production equipment, such as the vessel being destroyed here. An exemption spared Syria's military research labs. A trailer filled with Syrian weapons is driven onto the Cape Ray at the port of Gioia Toro, Italy. The Italian government agreed to allow the use of the port for one day so that hundreds of tons of lethal Syrian chemicals could be transferred to the American ship. The Cape Ray heads into the open Mediterranean to begin its mission. More than 600 tons of Syrian chemicals would be destroyed on its decks in less than 6 weeks. One of the Edgewood team's crew members makes adjustments to the Margarita machine as the mission is getting underway. With a flotilla of activists pursuing the ship, the Cape Ray was surrounded by naval destroyers to prevent intrusions. Iraqi Kurdish fighters examined the debris after a failed ISIS suicide attack using chlorine gas in January 2015. Unable to steal chemical weapons from Syria, the terrorist group attempted to make its own. Η φωτογραφία αυτή είναι Kurdish Regional Government of Iraq. Samantha Power, President Obama's ambassador to the UN, chats with John Kerry and Sergei Lavrov in 2015. Power nudged the Russians into allowing a UN panel to formally assess blame for the Syrian chemical attacks. Moscow ultimately used its UN veto to halt the panel's work. Κατά τα άλλα δεν συνεργάζονται. White House envoy to the anti-ISIS coalition, Brett McGurk, confers with U.S. Joint Chiefs Chairman General Joseph Dunford in 2017. One of a few senior advisors to serve under Obama and Donald Trump, McGurk resigned his post to protest a decision to unilaterally withdraw all U.S. forces from Syria. Ήτανε και με τον Ομπάμα και με τον Donald Trump αυτός εδώ, ο σύμβουλος. A soldier photographs the remains of a Syrian military laboratory after the facility was flattened by a US-French missile strike in April 2018. Trump ordered the strike following reports that Syria had again used chemical weapons, killing civilians at Douma, a Damascus suburb. A later investigation confirmed the use of chlorine gas at Douma but found no traces of sarin or other nerve agents. Συνεργάτες είναι λοιπόν οι Ρώσοι με τους Αμερικάνους.